You're watching Metallica Mania, and I am your host CJ. Welcome back to another album ranking, which is the mighty band Death, one of the greatest death metal bands of all time. They've basically gave me the kick in the ass to get into death metal and showed me what the hell death metal was about. First album that I ever listened to by Death was Scream Bloody Gore, as you can see back there. Absolutely one of my favorites of all time. Did I spoil the album ranking? I don't know. You'll have to find out. You have to stay to the end if you want to find out if I did or not. So, in the further ado, let's get into it. They have 7 studio albums, 7 perfect studio albums. I'm not gonna. There's no down markings for any of these. Every single song they've ever done was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into the actual ranking part. Enough of the intro, enough of that shit. But yep. Number 7, very controversial pick to have at number 7, which is The Sound of Perseverance, the last album, the melodic death metal record that they did to end it, to end the last album that they ever did back in 1998. So yeah, songs on here: Scavenger of Human Sorrow, absolutely a fantastic song with some absolute fantastic solos. Bite the Pain, Spirit Crusher, Story to Tell being very underrated. Flesh and the Power It Holds being one of the best songs of all time. Favorite one on this album is definitely the Flesh and the Power It Holds. Voice of the Soul, just absolutely fantastic instrumental track. To Forgive is to Suffer, A Moment in Clarity, and Painkiller, a cover of Judas Priest. Painkiller, the cover is probably the least favorite on this album for me, but everything is just awesome melodic death metal. The vocals are just epic. The vocals are awesome. Flesh and the Power It Holds being like a 8-minute song. It's just an absolute masterpiece, and just this album just runs through. Just one of the best, just absolutely great album. Number 6, Spiritual Healing, the 1990 release from this band. Basically everybody's least favorite. I get it. I get why the vocals are not like death metal like vocals. They're more like spoken word vocals, but yeah, with the guitars and how everything's set up, it goes so goddamn well with this. It goes so well with it. Stuff like Living Monstrosity, Altering the Future, Living Monstrosity just being an epic opener. Just the something about Born Without Eyes, Hands, and Half a Brain, Born Addicted to Cocaine. Just absolutely epic stuff on this song. I was just listening to see if there's any like phones going off in the background. Altering the Future, Defensive Personalities, Within the Mind, Spiritual Healing. Holy shit, that opening riff, the tap riff on the top string. Oh, that is an epic part of a song. The solos are absolutely blistering, just like it was in Leprosy. Basically the same kind of solos that were on Leprosy is on this record. Genetic Reconstruction and Killing Spree. Killing Spree being an absolute blistering last song for an album to have. Just it's an epic album that just falls low on this list, but for any other band would be probably their top album. Number 5 is Individual Thought Patterns, another one of the. This one has Andy from King Diamond on it. He's also on King Diamond's. He's on all of King Diamond's albums. If you've ever heard King Diamond before, if you've ever heard the stuff that the guitar riffs and crazy stuff they come up with, Andy is probably the one that came up with it. So you already know this one's going to be kind of particular when you go into it. And yeah, this one is kind of particular. The guitars are really crisp. The bass guitar like bleeds out of the guitars that are in it, so it makes it has this weird distance sound to it. I can't explain it. You'll just have to hear it and you'll realize what I'm saying. Songs like Overactive Imagination, In Human Form, Jealousy, Trapped in a Corner, Nothing is Everything, Mentally Blind, Individual Thought Patterns, Destiny, Out of Touch, and The Philosopher. The Philosopher is absolutely one of the greatest songs ever. They have a music video for this song. For obvious reasons, because it's fantastic. It's a fantastic song. The riffs are great. The opening basically has the same style of tap opening as Spiritual Healing. Individual Thought Patterns, the epic title track, that one that has the bass that bleeds out. Trapped in a Corner, Nothing is Everything is two of my favorite death songs to listen to by themselves. So yeah. Next one is number 4, which is Human. People tend to forget about this album ever existing because it falls in between Spiritual Healing and Individual Thought Patterns, but it's better than both of them. Honestly, it's better than both of them. Stuff like Flattening of Emotions, Suicide Machine, Together as One being one of my favorite songs Secret Face, Lack of Comprehension. That opening part of that song is so good. This is basically a tech death record. This is basically a technical death metal album, because they have a lot of I think they have 2 members from the band Cynic on this album too. See Through Dreams, Cosmic Sea, Vacant Planet. Cosmic Sea, Vacant Planet are 2 very underrated songs. Basically has a lot of underrated songs from Death. This album gets looked over way too much, and kind of sucks that it does. So yeah, that's what I think of. Let's go into the next one. Not wasting any time. Number 3, I put Symbolic at number 1 last time, but re-listening to Death over the years, I gotta give it to the number 1 and number 2. I gotta give it to the 2 albums that are up above this for me now. This album moved down. It's still a very good album. The guitars are still absolutely crazy. Like, the guitar tone on this album is so fucking good, honestly. Symbolic, Zero Tolerance. Holy shit, is Zero Tolerance one of the best songs that they've ever done. Empty Words, Sacred Serenity, that weird riff they do on this song. The weird ass riffs they do on some of these songs that a madman has to come up with. And yeah, just absolutely crazy. There's absolutely crazy stuff on this record. Some Thousand Eyes, Without Judgment, Crystal Mountain, Misanthrope, and Perennial Quest. There's no going wrong with this record. There's no going wrong with any of these albums. I'm just basically sharing my opinion on them. Without Judgment being really good as well. Crystal Mountain, classic Crystal Mountain. If you've ever picked up a guitar and you like death metal, you probably tried to play Crystal Mountain. And here's number 8. The number 8 track, Misanthrope. Very underrated song. Misanthrope is one you got to go back and listen to. It is very crazy in the riffing. The riffing is absolutely amazing on it. And yeah, used to be my favorite album, but as you know. And no, I didn't spoil the ranking because Scream Bloody Gore is at number 2. And you already know what number 1 is. So, yeah. This is one of the absolute rawest fucking records ever. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. That means number 1 is probably one of my favorite albums of all time as well. And it is. Infernal Death. Holy shit, that song is so fucking brutal. Zombie Ritual, that opening, it's just so grimy and gritty. This album just kicks complete ass. Denial of Life, Sacrificial, or Mutilation. Regurgitated Guts, Suicidal Preacher, Hangs Himself, Suicidal Servant, Go Straight to Hell. I think that's how the lyrics go for that song, but yeah, Regurgitated Guts, just that how it just chugs along and chugs along, and it's just, oh man. Baptized in Blood, Torn to Pieces, Evil Dead, and Scream Bloody Gore. Basically an album just about gore. Like gore and disgusting, trying to be as edgy as possible, disgusting as possible, and it accomplishes it. Came out in 1987. Some people say it's the first death metal record. I'm not going to touch that argument with a 40-foot fucking pole. Don't come at me in the comments section. I'm not sharing my opinion on that because it is so fucking toxic with that. So be mindful of that. I don't want to touch that with a pole. I don't want to touch it with anything. So yep. Scream Bloody Gore. Have a hoodie for it. Wear a hoodie in the wintertime for with that on it. The artwork for Scream Bloody Gore, and have the poster up there because yeah, it's one of my favorite albums of all time. But my favorite death metal, and probably ranks up there with like top 3 albums of all time, Leprosy. Honestly, what to say about it? The solos, holy fuck! This album is absolutely insane with the solos. You have Leprosy, Born Dead, To This World, Forgotten Past, Left to Die, Pull the Plug, Open Casket. Probably my favorite death metal song ever. The best song in death metal is, in my opinion, Open Casket. Open Casket has a solo that's just nuts. Like, they have like fast parts in the solo, they have the really slow down parts, they have the fucking dive bombs. They're not the dive bombs. The dive bombs are more of like thrash metal, like the high pitch. These are more like the low tone, like flushes and stuff that they have on that song. Primitive Ways and Choke on It. Songs like Open Casket, Pull the Plug. Every song on here is basically a classic. Basically, every song on here has a solo that does the same, accomplishes the same thing in what the song before it does, being more complex than basically everything that was released before it, and being as fast as possible and slow as possible at the same time. How they accomplish that, I don't fucking know. Like, so yeah, that's how I rank death. Hope you guys liked it. This video took so many takes and frustrations to do. I finally just said screw it. I'll just go through the video and talk, and if it's not, and I skipped over parts where I was screwing up before, so if it seems like I just went from a talk point to another talk point, it's because I was kind of like not getting my point across, and I was like, fuck it, I'll go to the next part to keep people interested. So hope you guys liked it. These videos will be probably getting less frequent because I'm kind of getting burnt out from doing videos for like weeks on weeks on weeks on weeks. I'm probably getting burnt out, so you don't see me upload for maybe like a couple weeks, but because I'm burnt out and need some time to. So yeah, hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will be probably Friday, maybe.